안녕하세요. 한국어를 배우고 싶은데 뭐부터 시작해야 되나? 얼마나 걸리지? 라고 생각하시는 분 있으시면 이 영상 끝까지 보세요. Hi everyone, I'm Megumi. I grew up in Okinawa, Japan. And after studying abroad in South Korea, I became obsessed with learning languages. Currently, I can speak English, Japanese, Korean, and I'm working on my fourth language, German. Learning a new language might feel a little overwhelming at first, but it's actually all about taking small steps. So if you've been thinking about learning Korean but you're not sure where to start, or if you're wondering how long it takes to become fluent, then this video is made for you. I'll walk you through my complete roadmap for learning Korean, covering everything from reading and pronunciation and to listening, vocabulary and speaking. As always, I put timestamps down below, so feel free to jump to any section that you're particularly interested in. Let's dive into the video. Before you jump into learning Korean, there's one thing I always stress. Find your why. Why do you want to learn Korean? Knowing your reasons will help you stay motivated even during the tough times when things are not going as well as you expected. I always shared my reason for learning Korean with my friends and family, and it was simple. Like, I wanted to communicate with my friends in Korean and understand their culture better. But there are actually days I felt like giving up. And it was a day I took a listening test at school when I was studying abroad in South Korea. And I got scored about 40 out of 100. I was devastated. I was almost about to quit. But then I reminded myself why I started, and I wanted to speak like a native. Literally, that was enough to keep me going. A good example is one of my Japanese friends. He recently started learning Korean because he's got a Korean girlfriend. At first, he didn't know any Korean, but he was set on learning. After just a few months, his speaking improved so much that he could hold simple conversations. Why? He wanted to speak to his girlfriend in Korean and get a deeper understanding of her culture. That strong reason kept him motivated and he pushed through the challenges. So take a moment and ask yourself, what's the reason for learning Korean? Knowing this is key. Especially when you face those tough moments. Learning a language is just a long journey, but those who don't give up will get there eventually. Alright, once you're clear on why, let's dive into the details of learning Korean. Reading and pronunciation. The first thing you need to tackle is Hangul, the Korean alphabet. I'm not gonna lie, it might look a little intimidating at first, but once you get the basics down, it's actually pretty simple. Hangul is one of the most logical and straightforward writing system out there. Unlike Japanese, which has kanji, hiragana, and katakana, Hangul is all phonetic. Each character represents a sound, and those sounds come together to form syllables. There are 14 basic consonants and 10 vowels in Hangul. That's it. You don't need to memorize thousands of characters like kanji. The good news is, once you master these basic characters, you'll be able to read most words in Korean. Let's break it down. Hangul characters are formed by combining a consonant and vowel into a syllable block. For example, the word Hanguk is made up of 2 syllables, Han and Guk. Each block is a sound. And once you know the sounds of the consonants and vowels, you'll be able to read just about anything. I know it might seem like a lot to take in, but don't stress. I've got a video linked down below where I go over each Hangul character in detail, and you can watch it whenever you're ready at your own pace. But it's all in Japanese, so I recommend watching it with subtitles if you need it. Now, when it comes to pronunciation, there's one important thing to remember. Mouth shape matters. For vowels like a, o, ya, ya, you need to open your mouth vertically. For vowels like u, you, o, yo, you need to pack out your lips. It's kind of like making a kissy face. When you say some of these sounds, it might sound a bit funny at first, but with practice, it will feel natural. I recommend practicing these sounds in front of the mirror to make sure you're shaping your mouth correctly. And I'm sure getting the right pronunciation early on will save you a lot of frustration later. Now moving on to one of the most important skills in language learning, listening. In order to have real conversations, you need to be able to understand what people are saying to you. And let me tell you, Korean people talk fast. So if you want to improve your listening skills, you need to listen and you need to listen often. When I started learning Korean, of course, I couldn't understand anything what people were saying. But the secret is to practice regularly with content that's at your level. Start with easy, slow material and then gradually challenge yourself as you improve. One of the best ways to start is by watching children's videos or simple YouTube videos. Shows like Pong are perfect for beginners. The language is simple and the pace is slow enough for you to follow. Another great show is 슈퍼맨이 돌아왔다. This show follows families and their kids, so the language used is very straightforward and easy to understand. Once you're comfortable with beginner content, try moving on to the more intermediate stuff, like dramas or variety shows. For example, I love watching 이지금. The language here is more formal and polished, which is great for learning how to speak politely in Korean. For more casual conversation, I often watch a game YouTuber called Hean. He's one of my favorites, and you can also hear how they speak with friends in Korean. Here's a tip. If you don't understand everything, start by watching this show with subtitles in your native language. Once you get the gist of it, re-watch it with Korean subtitles to strengthen your skills, and eventually try watching without subtitles. I know it's tough, but you'll be amazed at how much more you understand when you stop relying on translations. Now let's talk about vocabulary. Building a strong vocabulary is super important for language learning, but not just any vocabulary, useful vocabulary. In Korean, you will notice a lot of words that come from Chinese characters called Hanja words. If you learn what the individual characters mean, it will be easier to understand new words. For example, the word 한국 is made up of Han, meaning Korea, and 국, meaning nation. So when you see other words with Han or 국, you can kind of guess what they might mean, like 한복, 한식, 미국, 중국, etc. Another tip is to learn vocabulary in context. I always recommend learning words in sentences, not just on their own. That way, you will know how to use them in real situations. For example, if you're watching a drama and hear a new word, pause the video and write the sentence it's used in. Later, try using that word in your own sentences to make sure you're using it right. And don't forget, repetition is key. Keep coming back to words and sentences to make them stick. Flashcards, apps, or just writing the words down in a notebook can help reinforce your vocabulary. Finally, let's talk about speaking, the part that most people find the trickiest. But actually, once you start speaking regularly, your confidence will go through the roof. I'm going to share my number one tip. Start with text-based communication first. If you're a beginner, jumping straight into a conversation with a native speaker can feel a bit intimidating. But here's what I did. Use apps like HelloTalk to text native speakers. Texting gives you time to think about your replies, and you can always look for words in a dictionary if you're unsure. Also, you can use AI tools like ChatGPT to practice your writing or pronunciation. You can write sentences and get instant feedback, which really helps you improve. Once you start feeling more confident, begin speaking out loud. Record yourself, listen to the playback, and compare it to native speakers. The more you practice, the more natural it feels. And when you're ready, start having real conversations with native speakers. I promise it's such a great feeling when you realize you can actually hold a conversation in Korean. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video will help you feel more confident in your Korean learning journey. Remember, it's not about how quickly you learn, it's about staying consistent. Keep practicing and you'll definitely get there. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And what's the biggest challenge you've faced while learning Korean? Or do you have a tip that helped you out? I would like to hear your thoughts. Please let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching again. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!